also at CPAC, the poor man's Matt Walsh, who is the poor man's Ben Shapiro. Yeah. Michael Knowles was there, like desperately searching around, and he's dressing like a full-on like TV pastor, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's exactly like a TV pastor would dress. And he, I think, is like a little bit annoyed that Walsh got all the juice for the anti-trans. I don't know if he feels like he was anti-trans before Walsh was. But now I just want to say this. We're going to play this clip. And Michael Knowles has said it's defamatory to say that he said or is calling for the eradication of trans people. He is calling it, and he can sue us if he wants to, because just because he uses an ism at the end of transgender, the eradication of transgenderism. Just imagine if he said, I'm going to get, I call for the eradication of blackism or Judaism. I mean, let's just say, Judaism is actually probably more, sort of like analogous even, right? Like the eradication of Judaism. If he had called for that, would it have been fair to say, like, he's sort of, he's calling for the eradication of Jews.
No, just the ideology. Just the ideology of Judaism, right? That's the semantic point he's...
There's another semantic point he's making, which is that he says it is eradicated from public life. And as Brandon Friedman points out on Twitter, transgenderism must be eradicated from public life versus transgender people must be eradicated is a meaningless distinction to the historically literate. Nazis very specifically banned excluding German Jews from public life years before the first extermination camp. And like that should be obvious to anybody that it took a while for even the Nazis to be like, oh yeah, extermination is the policy, and to put that into writing.
But here he is delivering his attempt at increasing his distribution numbers. Maybe it's time for him. Maybe he's renegotiating his contract too. It's not inconceivable.
There can be no middle way in dealing with transgenderism. It is all or nothing. If transgenderism is true, if men really can become women, then it's true for everybody of all ages. If transgenderism is false, as it is, if men really can't become women, as they cannot, then it's false for everybody too. And if it's false, then we should not indulge it, especially since that indulgence requires taking away the rights and customs of so many people. If it is false...
Positive. Now, I just want to make this clear. This guy's a fundamentalist Christian. Somehow, the existence of trans people takes away the rights and customs, or rights. I mean, I don't know what the customs are that he's talking about. And I certainly don't know what the rights are.
But I mean, this is a way to also kind of launder the turfism that was made so popular in the UK, which is that transgenderism is a threat to feminism, which they always cared about before this.
You were just protecting women.
And also, if you want to substitute something, you can substitute eradicating Judaism. But if you're talking about things that take away or infringe upon other people's customs and rights, people who work for Hobby Lobby can't get contraceptive care from their insurance company because of Christianity.
That's an ideology.
Christianity has been used in the past to justify segregation, anti-miscegenation laws. It has certainly inhibited the practice of other people's customs, without a doubt.
I mean, when I think of customs in this context, it's hard for me to not think of a circumcision.
Right. I mean, here we go. Now, I don't think that, and just because, The idea that Jesus came out, was dead for a couple of days, and then came out, moved a rock away from a cave, and came out and did all that. That seems to me to be not true. That seems probably going to be false.
To flip a coin.
Yeah. And if it's false, maybe we ought not indulge it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So get bad news for you folks looking forward to Easter this year.
We have to enforce the truth, guys.
Gotta enforce the
Facts
truth.
over feelings.
Yeah.
That's
There
what
you
his
go.
boss would say.
Yep. All right, continue.
Then we should not indulge it, especially since that indulgence requires taking away the rights and customs of so many people. If it is false, then for the good of society, and especially for the good of the poor people who have fallen prey to this confusion,
Crocodile tears.
transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely. The whole preposterous ideology at every level.
All those people who thought the Easter Bunny was real, those poor sops, those people who thought like, oh, you know what? I may be getting screwed in this life, but I'm going to go to heaven.
Pie in the sky when you die.
There you go.
There's people who go to church and they have a cracker and drink some wine and think they're literally eating flesh and blood.
Yeah, there's a lot.
We should not indulge that. We got to get the stage.
Childish fantasy.
Is it not false? I mean, come on. It seems like
you say
it's
this
false.
is blood? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You can buy this stuff online.
I also do think it's notable that these right-wingers are laundering kind of QAnon, or not laundering, I said that earlier, but using a QAnon kind of framework for some of this transgender stuff, because it was the same thing when they were saying that Democrats were pedophiles and were drinking children's blood. It's like, well, what are you going to do about it? What's the natural conclusion for what people should do if there's a cabal of pedophiles going after children, abusing them, drinking their blood? It's the same thing with transgender ideology, groomers, LGBTQ people more broadly. What are you going to do about it, audience, if you think that that's happening to not just kids that you hear about on the news, but it might happen to your kid as well? It's I can never say it. Scotastic terrorism.
Skotastic.
God damn it. Yeah, but yeah. You guys get what I'm saying. What did I say?
It's stochastic.
Oh,
yeah.
God.